and everything is all gone or overgrown.
Mhm. Yeah, most of the new trees along the path are ones we planted. There's a couple that were donor trees through the township's program, and we have a couple planted throughout. But if you walk mostly along the path, the paved path, you'll see a bunch of new trees, and also in the older growth woodland there. That really is a nice piece of remnant forest that I guess was never really cleared for farming because it was too rocky. But there's a lot of really good plant species in there that we've been working on removing invasives, and we did a couple plantings in there before.
How many shrubs are you thinking you're doing?
Um, I'm not sure. Maybe 15 or 20 or more.
And is that something that you have on tap, meaning that you can pick up as many as you need if you find you've got capacity, you don't have to pre-order?
Yeah, most all of the stuff we're planting, we haven't growing in my backyard or at Karen's
Oh,
place. Um, some of the oaks that we're planting we bought from the nursery already. So, but a lot of the shrubs we have just growing at our in our home nursery, I think.
and then remind me about the November 17th event.
Oh, we're gonna be planting two trees at Bicentennial Park and two trees at Black Horse Park. I'm not sure exactly what time that will be at, but I guess I can. Let's see. That might be. Yeah. Yeah. I can let you know more info, but we're just gonna plant four trees, the bare root trees, uh, at those parks.
Nice. And any other events that are now on your horizon for whenever you start up next year or finish this year?
No, not for Plymouth. I think that's it for this fall. Mhm.
Good work. Thanks for all you're doing to green our areas.
So is any of this with the township, both the ones they've ordered, or is this all just through Colonial Canopy?
Yeah, the ones on November 17th, the township paid for those four trees that we'll be planting. Two at Bicentennial and two at Black Horse. We went with a smaller order this year because Rick's team has a lot to water,
Mm-hmm.
so we kept it smaller.
Nice. Good work, Andrew.
Thank you.
So, any other comments on that section? Save this a second. Okay, so then our plastic bag ban is hopefully in the township's hands. We've answered some questions. These are the four items they asked about, so I gave them examples of those four items. So we'll wait to see when that comes back up for next actions. And I did attend the periodic Southeast PA Plastics Coalition, Single-Use Plastics Coalition. So there are a couple other townships like Abington and forget what the other one was, one of the Moorlands maybe. So there's still continuing interest. Oh, Whitpain is working on theirs. They asked me for examples of our ordinance, and so they're trying to move theirs forward. So I think we'll see a good synergy of these policies taking place over the next few months. And I heard that State College is working on one, or it's been brought up for discussion. So across Pennsylvania, I think it's growing also.
White Marsh,
Montgomery just passed or is passing one as well.
Sorry, who's that?
Montgomery.
Yeah, Montgomery Township did, yes. So others that are in the works.
White Marsh's plastic bag ban went into effect this week, October 11th, last Wednesday. So I guess I'm interested to see early feedback or adjustments or whatever, but I haven't heard much.
Yeah, a friend was in the Giant over at Butler and Ridge, and she said that they had a sign posted at the cashier about the date for the plastic bags going into effect. So that's an example we could use for the types of signs that we'll ask retail to post. I'll just mention that Whitpain or White Marsh as sign posted. I think that is Giant over there by Butler and Ridge, isn't it?
It is.
Yep.
Interestingly, I had a Plymouth resident reach out who saw the messaging at Giant and thought that was in Plymouth Township. Very unhappy to complain that there was a ban on plastic bags and said it was the dumbest thing he'd ever seen. And why in the world would you do that? So I was like, well, that is White Marsh. That's actually not Plymouth. So I explained that to him. But I think true to form. And then I had someone else reach out and was like, why in the world haven't we passed one yet? So I think true to like even the feedback that you've captured to date, people that comment, it's very polarized. They're either like, this is the dumbest thing ever, or I love this, and how quickly can we pass one of our own? So
yeah, I think the ones who claim it's the dumbest thing, I think it's just habit of not wanting to carry reusable bags, just the convenience, it's like one more thing you have to do when you go shopping. But I think that is just a behavioral change that takes place over a period of time, and pretty soon it's second nature. I think I saw somewhere, I think one of the groups at the coalition meeting said they had found this plastic bag reusable bag carrier that somebody could clip to their belt. So it was kind of like an even more compact than the ones with handles, but I'll see if I can remember who that was. So yeah, well, that's good. I'm sure we'll always get some pushback on these things.
Yeah, I like the idea though of seeing what what happens as White Marsh puts this in play, and it'll just give us a chance to get in front of if we know, here's the comment people are making. Like the person who reached out to me said, it's actually not true that plastic bags are good for the environment. It takes more to make a paper bag. So you can kind of see, like with White Marsh putting this into effect, we could see where people have concerns or questions or pushback. So if we use theirs as kind of our test case, we can be prepared for when we pass ours, which I believe will happen. What we want to get in front of.
And also, since you guys probably know the White Marsh, is it commission or commissioner of supervisors?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you probably could have a conversation with them and say, what kind of feedback have you received, and then be better prepared for the public meeting to realize that they're going to get some people that are going to say no. But yeah, no, this is helpful that we're banding together, and hopefully the environmentalists of the EACs are realizing that this is important to kind of reduce our plastic pollution. The big thing I think is that the fossil industry is realizing with the tamp down on natural gas in the United States and shipping LNG overseas, that they're now looking to build these big plastics factories to take up their slack, of their declining business in other areas. In fact, I think I read somewhere that the number of plastics plants being proposed is more than going to defeat the gains we've had in reducing fossil fuel consumption. So that's a sad state of the affairs that it keeps pushing it out longer and longer.
Oh, Bill, on the same topic, do you think on the Plymouth Township website we need more education about it?
Yeah,
You know,
that's what this web content is. I've given Len Hess, our IT head, a couple examples from West Norton and media. And so I sent him some web pages to consider. I don't know how far in advance they put that up before they have the public meeting. Because I don't know that you want to trigger reactions until, the council decides to go further and make it public. So that's just my thought. But yeah, that'll be important that we get those stood up. The West Norton and media examples are fairly straightforward. I think it's only going to be a page or two. There's not a lot, that we need to make unique. It's like there's a lot of boilerplate that can be reused. So that should help us.
so I was thinking more about the misinformation about plastic bags, paper bags. I'm sorry, with this cold, my brain isn't working very well. The idea that paper bags are take more to make and those kind of things. If we had some information regarding plastic and how long it takes to break down and those kind of things on the website, that way to precede the ordinance, not necessarily to react, but to be proactive.
Yeah, we have some of that in our current documentation that we put out in the sewer bills. But yeah, Maria, if you want to take a shot at drafting something that we could definitely add a page to our EAB page and just say, here's our learnings from our plastic study. This has been public that we've been working on this since April of 2022. So you're right. I think it would be good for us to share some of that information in another form, because if people have gone past their sewer bills or, we need a permanent place, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Good.
I wonder, will something like the Times Herald carry anything like that when one of the townships, like, did they carry it for White Marsh when they did their ordinance?
Yeah, there was a press release that went out when they adopted it, so we can look at some of those examples.
Right.
And actually, the Plastics Coalition group that we've been meeting with every few months, has a Google Drive, and they've accumulated so many resources. PowerPoints from different EACs have made presentations to their officials, and some of them even ran a public meeting.
Plastics Coalition, I'll look at their website then.
Yeah, I'll send you a link to the Google Drive.
Okay. Wait, thank you.
Just so you can tap into it. I'll send it to everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That'd be helpful.
Good point. Let me put that in here. Share. Okay, proposal. Plastics. This information. Countering page. EAB page. Send Google. Or Southeast PA. Plastics. I'll do that. Andy, you had your hand up?
Not too productive of a comment, but I just wanted to caution, Bill, you mentioned the building of new plastic plants, right? I mean, I don't know what more the article said about that, but one of the largest increases in plastic usage is actually going into EVs, for example. We all support EVs and their charging infrastructure and so forth. So then you don't know what type of plastic. Are you talking recycling plastic? Are you talking bio-based plastic, etc.? So I don't know. I mean, just the overgenerality and oversimplification of the problems, and it's just careful. I was going to say that. I mean,
No, that's
we love them in some ways. Plastics enable a lot of our technology that we love. It's the use for 5 minutes and throw out, and the lack of recycling and so forth that in the long life of them that just make them extremely problematic. But a lot of good properties and a lot of ways we still want to use them to help actually in our fight against climate change and so forth.
And trash accumulation too, if you think of it. So we need to distinguish between single use plastics, like plastic forks, plastic bags, those kind of things, plastic bottles, and things like that.
Yep. Good comments. So on the lawn ordinance, we talked about this probably being a project over the winter. So I don't have access to the international code. Apparently it's a subscribed website, so I'll have to contact our township code officer. Do you know, Lynn, who is our township code person?
Code enforcement, like our code enforcement director,
Yeah,
it's Jim Wallace.
is that WALLACE?
It is.
Yeah, so I just want to find out what we're following for rules for lawns, so we can know where we're starting. So then we can once we see what it says, we can start talking about if we want to adjust it in the future. Any other comments on lawns? Maria, if you turn your rear yard into a meadow, are you going to face any township restrictions? Oh, you're muted.
Trying to mute my cough is what I'm trying to do. I will have to look at the ordinance to make sure, because if I plant native flowers, they're going to be taller than 12 inches, and that's what the ordinance says. But I don't anticipate, because it's in my backyard, not my front, and it's just going to blend in with my other garden. I don't see it being a problem, but I'm going to read the ordinance just to make sure.
Andy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I missed the conversation last month, so I don't know what all was talked about there. But I mean, as I understand it's kind of a complicated process, right? Of declaring a lawn as an open meadow, right? You actually do need to plant them and so forth. My prior employer was a large landowner in King of Prussia, and they actually had to work with the company to come in and plant the wildflowers and everything and declare it as a meadow in order to stop mowing. And so it's a process. It's not something that I think this homeowner can just do and say it's a meadow and they don't have to mow it. So anyway, just to say it's I don't know that that really helps most homeowners. Because they're still going to have to go through a large process in order to get that done.
No. It's something I'm considering, and I'm just starting to look into it. I mean, planted a pollinator garden last year and I just want to extend it for my vegetable garden. So, yeah, I'm going to start investigating it. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, the topic came up last month because a resident had lawn that was above the length. Elderly person doesn't really have the resources to hire somebody to maintain their lawn. She asked for an exception to delay it, rather than getting fined. And so the state rep that she had contacted for help contacted me as an environmental board and asked if that's something we could look at. And I received a ordinance from Whitpain that they have put together a pretty comprehensive meadow ordinance. So I don't know that we need to go all the way to a meadow level. I think maybe it's just a little bit more leeway on lawns themselves. So that's why we want to research this and find out the pros and cons of the whole thing. Yeah, so we can look into all those issues. So I have the solar proposal out there. We're waiting for the township to be ready to hear it. So we'll wait. We'll see whether we get some time with them. I did find out that Springfield Township and West Goshen are actually, the West Springfield Township is a proposal for solar, and this was an EAC proposal. EAC solar proposal. West Goshen is actually putting together. West Goshen is actually preparing their RFP. Is preparing to go out to bid. Is preparing. And I believe Henry told me it was solar on 2 buildings. So I think that's maybe a worthwhile example because they'll get it started here before the end of the year, and then we can use their learning experience when we go talk to council about it. So that'll help us. And then also Springfield Township is very interested in the ability to do this similar type of effort on their property. So Springfield put in a application for the shared energy manager, and Joy on the EAC, Joy Berge, is actually hopeful that the shared energy manager can help them, flesh out the proposal and assess their ability to have solar on their property. So I think there's, quite a few things the shared energy manager could do. I did not put an application in because I don't think the township's ready for getting involved with another consultant. So, but I did talk to the person running this in the Pennsylvania DEP, and he said that he got more applications than the 20 slots that he had. So he's thinking that what he could do is keep a queue of the ones that were more than 20. He was planning to do 20 each year for the next 4 years. They got some federal funding for this program. And so if we get in the queue at any time, hopefully then if capacity opens up and we can get access to the manager, then we could get involved at that point. So
What's the actual organization or who's running that?
It's actually the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. They've been running local climate action plan cohorts for the last 4 or 5 years, and they assign a college or graduate student for 9 months to work with the township and do their greenhouse gas inventory and create their climate action plans. So there's been at least 20, 25 communities all over Pennsylvania that have gone through that. And this was an extension because once they got the climate action plan built, a lot of them were looking for help. Well, what do? We've got this plan, but we really don't know which efforts or which actions to prioritize or to work on or to evaluate. They didn't all have the experience or the background to know where to start. So he came up with this idea of having the shared energy manager that would work across the number of unities that are involved. And so it's a part-time effort, but he can rotate, back and forth between different townships, work on our an efficiency improvement or an energy audit proposal or a solar proposal. So I think it's a neat idea because there are a lot of these municipalities looking for help in the energy world. Yeah, I didn't include it here, but in the workbook for the solar, our electric bill is going up November at least 2 cents a kilowatt hour, and based on the number of kilowatt hours we use, the projected increase for next year's budget is $77,000. So, the solar proposal actually locks in an electricity rate under 5 cents a kilowatt hour, more like 4.3, 4.4, 4.6 cents a kilowatt hour for 20 years, 25 years, depending on the life of the solar panel. So that's in the workbook. So you can kind of see that, we can lock in a rate that we aren't likely to get for a while because electricity rates have been going up because of the demand on natural gas going to LNG. So it's not likely that electricity cost is going to come down unless we get more solar, wind, which are cheaper generation methods than natural gas. But Pennsylvania doesn't have a policy to promote utility scale solar or utility scale wind because we've got such a restrictive renewable energy portfolio standard. Some of the other states have their quota for renewable energy up around 30%. We've only got 5% or 0.5% of our grid mix is solar. So because we don't have a policy that promotes bringing renewable energy into Pennsylvania, it's unlikely that we're going to see electricity rates go down for a while. So this would be a good choice for the township to, I'm projecting up to $2 million savings. And that's just the back of the hand, napkin type of calculation. We'd have to actually get that vetted out by a real installer to see what it would actually work out to. So it's unlikely that next year we're going to have any chance of going for trail planning funds because if they're pinched $77,000 next year, and typically, if they renew, they're going to renew for 1 year to 3 years, and they're going to be pinched with that $77,000 each year for the next 3 years. So it's unlikely that we're going to find any leeway in our budget to allow us to do much else. But you guys, if we want to go back in front of them next summer, glad to recommend it. Just giving you a heads up. And then we've got our energy transition plan sitting and waiting for the building to be completed so we can focus on that. So that's all I had today. Any other topics anybody want to bring up?
I just wanted to ask about the Parks and Recreation and Shade Tree Board. Have we ever collaborated with them? Or I tried attending one of their meetings before, but I think they thought I was I don't know, they didn't let me into the meeting. I don't know if they thought I was a contractor waiting to present, and they said we'll call you in, and then they never called me in. So I don't know. I know they don't meet every month, but I'd like to, see what kind of tree stuff they're working on, and if they want to help with our tree planting efforts on the EAB.
Yeah, that would be a good partnership. I think you're right. They probably just didn't know who you were, but it might be good to Why don't we reach out to, I'll reach out to, Karen
Yeah.
Weiss for the Parks, chair email. And then
It
I'll
might
copy,
be Phil.
I'm sorry?
It might be Phil, be
Phil.
the chair, Phil Brady.
Do you remember, who was there?
Well, when I was on the committee and when I was on council, it was usually the director or the assistant director who ran the meetings. Actually, Phil has asked me if I wanted to come back. There's going to be a seat open soon. So I don't know whether that would be a conflict of interest or not, but hey, if I could be a liaison, to both, I don't know whether I could or not, whether Lynn, is that a conflict of interest?
It's a good question. It doesn't seem like a conflict of interest. I'm not sure if there are others serving on more than one board. It seems to me if we have a resident who would happily participate in two places, it's not, it shouldn't be problematic, but I don't know. I'll ask Karen Weiss. And in the meantime, I am looking to see who is.
Actually, I just brought the page
in
up
that
here
group.
on the Zoom. So it looks like Jason Sugalaski is vice chair. Maybe the chair is open. Karen Bramblett is our liaison. Do you
She
know,
is,
Oh,
do you know Karen,
Yeah.
Maria?
yes, I do, very well.
You could ask her.
Sure. Yeah, I know Phil very well too, so, okay.
yeah, if you'd like, I would be happy to like send an email to Karen and copy you and just sort of broker an introduction and let her know that you'd like to come and speak to the group. And then
Andrew,
at least she'll be,
Sure.
I think she knows your name, but I'll just make sure that, you know, they know who you are and welcome you to join them.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a active volunteer with, the butterfly garden, and I just have been so disappointed in the way it looks now. Everything's gone. It's almost all weeds. Um, they mowed, they mow, so the path is there, but it's so unattractive, so unattractive. The flowers I mean, even though I went in the fall, I mean, there wasn't much there to look at.
How about that? I'll just say Lynn is going to introduce the Parks chair with Andrew.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I actually said I would introduce him to Karen Bramblett, who's
Oh,
our
okay.
the
Gotcha.
council.
Karen Bramblett, gotcha.
I know Karen. I've worked with her a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
And actually, I think it would be best get the email for the chair. Just ask for the email for the chair of the board, and then just send them an email.
Now, I wonder what happened to all the volunteers. Did they join the tree canopy, Andrew?
I don't think I met any other people besides you and Karen who did that. At least I haven't mentioned it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there was a whole group of us. There was about 15 of us. In fact, a couple of them are actually on my bocce team too. So
Oh yeah.
I see them. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
And Andy,
Well, changing subject from your bocce team. No, bringing up the website. Excuse me. I'm just seeing Bill, your term is up. Eunice's his term is up, and Maria, your term is officially up at the end of the year, and we've already got an open spot.
oh, that's right, Maria. You were just filling in a 1-year term, so you'll have to decide if you're going to renew. you have any early feelings, Maria?
Oh, I would love to stay on if I can. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to have you because we're going to be down 3 members.
Yeah.
Eunice, I have tried to reach her several times. And we lost Karen. Sorry, who was our other lady on Jolly Road?
Carolyn?
Carolyn. We lost Carolyn, and then
Carolyn Nichols.
my year gap, I have to be off the board for a year because I've done 2 3-year terms. So we'll be down 3 people. So yeah, we would love to have you stay, Maria, because trying to find 3 people is not going to be easy.
Okay. You got it.
Yeah, I didn't have anything else besides, I mean,
Thanks, Andy, for bringing that up. I forgot I was a fill-in.
I didn't realize there were 3 opening with 1 missing already. If there's any ideas on that?
And Mike's not been active since this early spring, so he's been detoured by his kids' activities, I'm pretty sure. So but yeah, if you guys are willing to take it forward, we've got a pretty good process here. So if you just keep the agenda rolling I put about 45 minutes into prepping it on the Saturday before, and then sending the email out. So I don't think it's a lot of work. Any other topics? All right, well, let's go cheer on the Phillies.
It's like a
Sounds
plan.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Make a motion to have the Phillies win tonight? Second, there's gotta be a second,
Second.
Yeah, we'll
Third.
second.
right?
Sounds good. Thanks.
I think that's unanimous.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Good seeing
Motion-
you.
Good
Take
seeing
Thanks,
care.
everyone.
To
All right.
adjourn.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, thanks all.
Thank you.
Have a
Good night.